Hey everyone. Now, a lot of people don't want to talk about this with the, LGBTQ, ABC people, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people do not want to talk about, people that are living an alternative lifestyle because it can get you in trouble. It could get your channel struck. People speak out against you. People want to file all type of claims against you or say that you are homophobic, that you are hating on them, and it's nothing like that. But we have to speak out when we know that rights are being violated. And it has nothing to do with the things that they have accused the person that's speaking out about most of the time. Has nothing to do with a person being homophobic or and all of that other stuff or judging them, because God will judge them. The Bible will judge them. And you can judge people righteously according to the Bible to try to get them to turn away from certain lifestyles and things that they're doing, and things like that. However, I know that this is a controversial subject, but I'm going to speak out. And I did a video, and I don't even think that I got one view on it about the swimmer that's transgender, a male swimmer that identifies as female. So we do have a right to speak about this, just not in a manner that could be harmful to others. Because what you do in your personal life is your business, and I certainly cannot and will not try to sanction or manage what you do. That has nothing to do with me. But what I will talk about is things that I seeing things that are unfair, and what the things that are going on, and how it can just be overlooked and no one says anything about it. And I have to question what I see and what I read, and I'm questioning this too because just over reading this story, just an overview of it, just really is disturbing. And it almost asks the question, do the people that are in administration over these school systems, do they have common sense? They say that they went to school and got degrees and you know in education, but is that really the case? And if it is, why aren't they operating like they are educated? And they are the experts, right? With these degrees in education, masters and doctorates in education, but yet and still they're going along with the standards of the world and man-centered uh, systems instead of God-centered. You know what I mean? And so here is an article where 4 female athletes challenged the high school transgender policy. Now, 4 female athletes are locked in a legal battle over transgender athletes that could set major precedent for the same fight playing out in schools around the country. The 4 female athletes appealed to a federal court over a Connecticut policy allowing high school males identifying as females to compete against girls. Now, I want to say that I support and salute these 4 female athletes for taking up the challenge to stand for what they believe in. And we knew that this came out before with that swimmer, Leah, I believe that was her name. Leah is his name. But however, or that person's name, I'm going to support them and stand up, and encourage them to continue the fight. Because as biologically female-born females, they have a right. They have rights too. And we understand that, people want to say they have rights, but when you start trumping on the rights of people that are biologically female or biologically male, but it's mainly the rights in competition, we seem to see that it's a lot of biologically female rights that are being challenged violated, stomped on, trumped on, and they're not getting fair treatment when it comes to sports, because they are playing sports and playing fair and square. And we all know that an individual that's born biologically male is much stronger than a female. And so when we're looking at this situation, and how do we say that this is fair? It's not. It's just like the scales are tilted in a different manner. And no matter how good a female performs, how skilled they are, how in shape they are, they 9 times out of 10 will not beat a male competitor, that's competing against them. And so the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit heard Soleil versus Connecticut Association of Schools this week, where the girls' legal team argued the policy is unfair to girls and hands female sports victories over to transgender athletes. Selena Soule, now she is the lead on this, okay? Alana Smith, Chelsea Mitchell, and Ashley Nicoletti are the 4 young women who saw their high school athletic goals thwarted by transgender athletes. They argue the policy violates federal Title IX law, whose whole purpose was to ensure that girls had equal athletic opportunities to compete and win in girls' sports events. Mitchell, for example, would have won the 2019 state championship in the women's 55-meter indoor track competition, but because 2 males took first and second place, she was denied the gold medal, said Alliance Defending Freedom, the legal group representing the female athletes. Soule, Smith, and Nicoletti likewise were or have been denied medals and or advancement opportunities. The debate has sparked controversy at the local, state, and national level as athletes born biologically male but who identify as female have joined women's sports and often dominated the competition. Notably this year, trans athlete Leah Thomas, who was born a biological male, easily beat Olympic silver medalist Emma Wayan and Erica Sullivan in the NCAA 500-yard freestyle championship in March, as the Center Square previously reported. And you all probably heard that story. And if you haven't, go to the video and look at it, because if you think this doesn't affect you and your family, if you're raising small children or grandchildren, or you have relatives that are competing in sports, whether it's elementary, high school, or college, and this is what's happening, or even in the Olympics, and men are able to identify as female and then take over women's sports that are born biologically female, you are going to have a lot of this. And we need to really look at what female rights are. I know I would stand up if I was part of this. I would stand up and fight it as well and bring it to the court system, because it's not fair and it's not right. Now, in my opinion, I think that transgenders should have their own, their own group, their own race, or like you have females, you have males, and then the transgender, and that should be male or female competing against one another. That's what they wanted. That's who they want to be, and that's what they need to do. They should not be allowed to take over women's sports of women who are born biologically male. That is my opinion and my First Amendment rights, and it is not hating on anyone. There's no phobia here. I am stating what my opinion is, and biologically correct. I do not think that this is right when it comes down to what's happening with female athletes. Biologically correct, they should be able to continue to operate and participate in their league, in their sport, and the transgender should have a sport or a league of their own so that they can do that, because no man should be coming over and taking over a woman's sports just because they identify as a female, but yet most of them have not had any type of surgery that says otherwise. And even though you can't question that or any of that, you know who you are, if you've had the surgery or not, and to be able to come and take over a female sport and be okay with that as a man, biological man that's identified as a female. there's a lot of people that can dress up one way or the other, but that doesn't mean that your sex is going to change. And even if you do have a change of, anatomy, guess what happens? You still have those hormones in you, those genes in you that still, will show you who you were or is or originally was. So anyway, that same dynamic has played out in Connecticut after the policy in question. So as a result of the CIAC's policy, 2 males were permitted to compete in girls' athletic competitions beginning in the 2017 track season, ADF said. Between them, they took 15 women's state championship titles held in 2016 by 9 different Connecticut girls, and more than 85 opportunities to participate in higher level competitions from female track athletes in the 2017, 2018, and 2019 seasons alone. Supporters of the transgender policy argue those in opposition to the new policies are discriminating against transgender athletes. Now, I'm going to stop right here. I don't believe they're being discriminated against. I believe that females' rights are being violated. Biologically born females' rights are being violated. And if we keep throwing out that transgender athletes are being discriminated against, where does that leave biologically female athletes that have participated and are competing, and they're being trumped on because they have to now deal with a biologically born male that is identifying as a female because they chose to cross over that? And then not only that, have we ever thought that they can't win any races and that they're not good enough to participate against biological males as what they were born with? So they choose to cross over so they can start winning and getting attention and getting, attention, winning races, getting attention, and status, for a lack of a better word, and so I believe that there is no discrimination. What I do believe, though, is that the female rights are being violated. And no one is really talking about this, but it needs to be brought to the forefront that biological female rights are truly being violated. And so what do we do with a violation and discrimination? Since they're crying discrimination and the women are actually really being violated, there is no discrimination when they're truly being violated because they were born biologically female, and you will not ever be able to change that. Now, can you argue the point that this is a transgender and they weren't born female? Yeah, but that's not going to win, knowing that who they are because they were born male. But can you prove that a female was born biologically female? Absolutely. But a transgender, no, you cannot prove that because they were not born that way. And so the scales should automatically go towards the females that were born biologically. It should not be an argument. It should not be, it just shouldn't be anything like this, but it's happening. And so therefore people have to stand up for their rights. Now, Connecticut's laws preventing discrimination against trans youth in school and sports are consistent with federal law, said Alana Builder, ACLU Foundation of Connecticut senior staff attorney. For years now, Andrea and Terry have carried more on their shoulders as 2 black trans youth than most adults face in a lifetime. We hope the court will uphold the lower court's decision so our clients may move forward with their lives, and so all transgender students in Connecticut can rest assured that their rights, humanity, and ability to be fully part of their school communities is not up for debate. Well, I have to dispute that because you still are violating somebody else's right to give it to somebody else so that they can go ahead and move on with their life. But what about the biologically females that are competing? Are they able to go on with their, are they able to go on with their life? What about their humanity? What about their ability to fully be part of the school communities? What about their rights? They have to be assured also. So this is something that definitely needs to go up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court needs to put a stop to this foolishness and this federal law that they say pass. You are violating female biologically born rights when you take away the right to them by saying that it's okay for a biologically born male to participate in a female sport because they want to identify as a female. No one is stopping them from identifying, but you're taking over races knowing that you're going to be the stronger athlete because of your anatomy, because of who you were born to be. You were born to be a male, and so quite naturally, you're going to probably beat out all of these females, and it's also going to take away opportunities when it comes down to sports and scholarships. When females get in college, they're going to have to follow this federal law, and guess what? It's going to be no more females. So it sounds like to me they're trying to make it where no one identifies as anything. But you can't change science, and you cannot beat God, and you cannot override God, because it's always going to be females born female, and it's always going to be males born male. So you can change, what you identify as, but you'll never be able to change really who you are. Okay, so the girls also say the transgender athletes' successes take away college scholarship opportunities, what I just said. Now, girls deserve the same opportunity as boys to excel in athletics. Allowing boys to compete in girls' sports, as we see happening in Connecticut and elsewhere, deprive girls of the opportunity to be champions, showcase their talents, and potentially earn college scholarships, said ADF Senior Counsel Christiana Kiefer. All female athletes deserve to compete on a fair playing field. Exactly. And we are urging the court to ensure respect for their right to equal treatment and opportunity in sports. If females stop participating in sports, then what are the schools and colleges going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to probably be begging them to come back after they violated their rights? That's crazy. So the 4 female athletes also testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee in Washington, D.C. in March of last year. When I was a freshman in high school, everything changed, Smith said in her testimony. I knew I'd be racing against a male who identified as a female at the state open. I knew I had no chance of winning, despite the hours of training and knowing my personal best in each event. I was defeated before stepping onto the track. I knew it wasn't fair to me or to any of the other girls competing at the state open. I knew I had biologically advantaged competition running against me. That question of fairness has been front and center in the debate over school policies on the issue. The girls' legal team argues that allowing the transgender athletes to compete against girls creates an uneven playing field and threatens the existence of girl sports. I just said that if everybody females stop participating, there won't be any more girl sports if females stop participating that are born biologically female. And that's absolute true. So males will always have inherent physical advantages over comparatively talented and trained girls. That is very true. That is so true that they will have that advantage. Now, I want to stop for a moment just to tell you that Title IX is the most commonly used name for the federal civil rights law in the United States that was enacted as part of the Education Amendments of 1972. I stand corrected when I said 9. But it prohibits sex-based discrimination in any school or any other education program that receives funding from the federal government. Now, enacted by the 92nd United States Congress, and it became effective June 23rd, 1972. Okay, so I just want to, bring that up there. And so, Title IX's whole purpose was to ensure that girls had equal athletic opportunities to compete and win in girls' sports events, says ADF Senior Counsel Roger Brooks. And when our laws and policies fail to recognize the real physical difference between males and females, women and girls bear the brunt of the harm. And that's very true, because there are physical differences. And that's why something needs to be done about this, where they need to create their own sports, their own league for transgenders, because there is a real physical difference between male and female, okay? And it's our hope that the Second Circuit will give the young women we represent the right to pursue their case and puts women's sports back on a level playing field. Now, this is really sad that our world, the people in the world have come to, it seems like a lack of common sense. And I think it's really sad that we're seeing people operate with a lack of common sense, because by doing this and taking away from biologically, females. And I wanted to bring something else up right here, because this kind of could go along. Let me see. It doesn't look like it's coming up anymore, but I had spoke about this on Saturday. I was talking about this where this Vermont high school volleyball team has been banned from their own locker room over transgender dispute. Now, what happened is that the females have a locker room, girls' locker room, and there's a transgender that plays on the team. Well, what they decided to do is to take away the girls' locker room and allow the transgender to use the locker room, saying that the transgender said that they were being, I guess, harassed or whatever, and bullied or whatever, But so now the transgender gets to use this whole girls' locker room by themselves, while the females have to change in one stall, and that stall has to be used by every other biologically born female. So that means if I go in the locker room and use it, the other female has to wait until I come out to change. And so you have all these females that are waiting to use one stall because they have allowed now the transgender to use the locker room by himself, because he's not a female. He's a male that was born biologically male that identifies as a female. And so that's not common sense at all, where the transgender really should be using that one stall because it's just one of them. And it makes sense if you look, just like 1 + 1 = 2. And we know that 1 + 1 does not equal 3, and it doesn't equal 4. So we have to start getting back to common sense and back to the basics. We understand that, people are looking at the rights and don't want to violate somebody's rights and want to treat people equal and fair. Well, it's never, in the world of women and females, it's never going to be equal, because females will never be able to be equal to men when it comes to strength, when it comes to equal playing field in sports. There are things that women are not able to do, and this is really true, and we have to admit that to ourselves. There are things that I'm not going to be able to lift, and I'm going to need a man to lift that, because I cannot. Let's just use common sense here. Okay, so now you have let's say you have 9 females that need to change, or 15 females that need to change. Well, let's say 14, and the transgender is 1. Now, why would you make 14 females wait for one stall? Why? And then give the whole locker room where all the females can change at once, and then the stall for the transgender. And why would you? It makes no sense. And another thing, females do not need to be, their rights should not be violated watching a male change his clothes, because he still has the anatomy of a male and the hormones and genes of a male, while they're in that locker room looking at females and pretending that they are not doing that, when really naturally they would be doing that. And no females want to be in a locker room changing with a biological male that they have not chosen to be around. And so when you look at common sense, it's only common sense that females have a right to speak up and to fight this. And I would not want to be in a locker room with another man. That's not my husband, not my partner. I don't want that. And I understand that. And so I hope they win this case. But common sense, it seems like there's just the lack of knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Hosea, I think that's chapter 4, verse 6. Let me see, because I just want to make sure that I quote that correctly. I believe it's Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. But if it's not, we're gonna get it right, right? Wait, hold on, I'm sorry. I think, okay, hold on. Right. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. Now your translation may be different from mine. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. And it goes on, and you can read the whole verse here. But lack of knowledge. I also reject thee, thou shalt be, and they go on, priest, to see me, saying that thou hast forgotten the law of God, of thy God, and I will also forget thy children. Now you can read that whole thing and study it, but I am telling you that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and people are being destroyed for lack of knowledge. Systems are failing because of lack of knowledge, and people are rejecting lack of knowledge. People are rejecting knowledge. Okay, they are rejecting knowledge, and so people are being destroyed. Systems are being destroyed. Systems are failing because people have rejected knowledge. And when you reject the law of God, He's going to reject his children. He's going to forget about them. And this is the thing that people need to understand. And so while you're sitting here going along with foolishness and violating somebody else's rights, biologically born rights, and taking them away to give them to a transgender that was not biologically born, who they identify as, you are violating people's rights under the Constitution. And then you're turning around and you are rejecting knowledge. And it's the knowledge that you were born with, common sense, and you are rejecting that. So I would like you all to leave your comments below. Let me know really what you think about this, because I know that a lot of people have, or really, I know that really don't want to talk about this, because of, the controversy behind it. But if we don't talk about it, they're going to keep passing laws. If we don't speak about it, we don't get it out there, that's what's going to happen. So you know what, you all, don't forget to like the video and share this video, please. And then subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Again, God bless you all on today.